The presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and gone. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champs.
Foley three. Goal! Foley ball. Out Shelley. Three ball. Goal! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and it's a busy day, a Tuesday edition of Duck Insider as we approach the start of basketball season in 8 days. That's right, 8 days away from basketball season, 9 days away from eating a bunch of turkey and taking a nap while you watch football. And then Oregon State football approaching rapidly on the following Friday. But first, we've got a Saturday kickoff against UCLA, but we don't know what time yet. I know a lot of people have been asking that question. When's the kickoff? When are we going to know? I wish I could tell you, because I want to be able to plan my day too. You know, what does game day look like if you're in kickoff limbo? Ducks and Bruins still waiting for their kickoff time after the game was originally scheduled for Friday night. Due to the conference shuffling with Cal and UCLA playing on Sunday, Oregon and UCLA will now meet on Saturday. Pac-12 said it would be on the ESPN family of networks, but we don't know when yet. We're going to hear from defensive coordinator Andy Avalos today. Also, George Moore, Tyler Shuck, and Jalen Redd met with the media. That is upcoming. As well as Aaron Boley and Kelly Graves from Oregon women's basketball on Pac-12 Virtual Media Day. The Virtual Media Day is a little bit odd, but you got some good stuff coming your way and some women's basketball updates as well. NBA draft is tomorrow. Good luck, Peyton Pritchard. Wishing him nothing but the best and the rest of those guys that are about to move on to the next level. Let's begin with this before we hear from Coach Avalos. Benjamin says, how good is Sedona Prince named preseason conference first team without playing a collegiate game? 100%. Aaron Boley and Sedona Prince today picked to the preseason all-conference team for Pac-12 women's basketball. That's pretty impressive for Sedona Prince, and I think that just tells you the level of intrigue for her game, and you're going to hear from Aaron Boley and Kelly Graves on that coming up in just a moment. But Aaron Boley and Sedona Prince named preseason all-conference first team. That's your Women in Flight update of the week, brought to you by the Duck Store, a proud supporter of Women in Flight. Honorable mentions, Taylor Chavez, Taylor Mikesell, and Jazz Shelley from Oregon women's basketball. In order to get honorable mention preseason all-conference, you have to appear on at least 4 of the ballots. Taylor Chavez, though, this is interesting. 47.4% from three-point. That led the Pac-12. It was second in the entire country among returning players. Not on the preseason all-conference? I mean, look, everybody's deserving, but I feel like Taylor Chavez is easily one of the best 15 players heading into this season. But that's just me as I sit here with a bunch of Oregon basketballs and, you know, a lot of O's around us. I'm still just a little bit intrigued by that. Hey, also of note, yesterday, TJ Bass named the Offensive Lineman of the Week for the Pac-12 Conference. That was announced after we got off the air yesterday. Second consecutive week that the Ducks have won that honor, and Bass earned the award after grading out as the highest-rated guard in the Pac-12 by Pro Football Focus. Earned a 96% assignment grade from the Oregon coaches as well. And he joins Penei Sewell, Shane Lemieux, Calvin Throckmorton, and Ryan Walk as Ducks who have combined to win, get this, 10 of the last 14 weeks. An Oregon offensive lineman has been the Pac-12 offensive lineman of the week. Pretty impressive for the Ducks. Updates from practice today as well as Rob Mosley was out there. You saw on his Quack Minute on the Oregon football social media channels. Hunter Campmoyer, good to see him back out there at the tight end position. Nick Pickett will be out for the first half. Second week in a row, the Ducks have been without a starting safety due to a targeting ejection. Looks like Jordan Happel, who knows this defense very well from his time under Coach Avalos at Boise State, could slide over and play that boundary safety position in addition to the field safety and nickel spot where he has played. And Devin Williams has been stepping up for the Ducks at practice. Some of the news and notes from practice today. All right, let's hear from Andy Avalos, get into some women's basketball, talk a little offense as well. That's all still to come on a busy edition of Duck Insider. Every assistant coach interview this year is brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a Duck with cancer care you can count on, and we count on Andy Avalos for the Ducks.
Andy, for as much as we talked about it last year when there was a disconnect on third and long and longer, we're going to talk about it when you've made one of the corrections of the year. I wanted to make sure I had the dime numbers right this week, but to me, I had it at 3 of 8 on passes and 3 runs for like 3 or 4 yards. And I realized a couple of those completions were late. The one conversion was 14 on a right out on left hash pass, which I think you'll give up kind of thing. I don't want to say surprised. What's your assessment of your units, the results so far? Because the splits are absurd compared to what you were doing a year ago.
Well, I mean, there's been some improvement there, and that's why we worked, with the time we had in the off season, we spent on working on that package and using the personnel we have. And so obviously there's areas we got to continue to grow with it. We didn't execute everything, obviously, great out of it, and we'll continue to grow. The guys are excited about it. They have fun playing it, and so we'll continue to grow and keep sharpening the techniques and the structure of it, and it's been good to us. So we'll keep working with it.
Your assessment of tackling through 2 games this season, and I guess just what stood out defensively for you against Washington State.
Yeah, obviously we got to improve the tackling starting early, and that was an objective going into the game with that type of offense being a spread offense and really quick and shifty players on the perimeter. We knew that was going to be a huge challenge for us, and obviously we've got to do a better job of planning how we're going to do it in organized drills, and obviously we've got to do a better job of emphasizing it in team periods and how we're getting our finishes on every single play. And making sure that we understand that, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when we're getting our fits in terms of tackling. And needless to say, everybody in the country, didn't have a lot of opportunities to practice tackling in the offseason. So we've got to make that ground up right now, and we will. The guys are excited to do that.
Andy, I think Noah said the other night that he missed a tackle early, and then Isaac told him just to calm down and take a deep breath. Just how do you approach a player that's that talented but still this young and obviously is going to play a big role for you?
There's no question. We got a few of those guys. We got a lot of guys, and whether they're true freshmen or true sophomores out there playing. And so that's where the growth of this whole process, we've got to continue on full speed ahead. And we're going into the 3rd game here, and every single day counts for our growth as individuals, as people, how we learn, our focus in learning. And then obviously the fundamentals on the football field and how we're executing, playing with great eye control and tackling, right? So in open space or confined space, you have to do a great job with your target and making sure that your eyes are tracking a hip and we're working to take the motors. Obviously, we've got to lower our strike zone when we're tackling. We've had a few instances where we'll have guys missing games for tackling too high. And so obviously that will be an emphasis as well in tackling and making sure that our eye control is not, our eye control is where it should be in terms of the target being on the hip and working to take the motors of the ball carrier.
You guys were one of the best teams nationally in forcing turnovers last year. Mm-hmm. 2 games in, you haven't done that yet. Can you explain that? Is that just the ball's not going your way, or can you guys be a little bit more aggressive in forcing some of those?
Well, it's just year to year it happens that way. Some years and when they come in bunches, and they'll come in bunches. They will. And it starts with, number one, fundamentally and technically. So we're talking about tackling. Good tackling, will cause takeaways. And there were a few instances the other night where we were close to punching some balls out when we were tackling, but putting yourself in position, your body control, having 2 feet underneath your hips when you're tackling and making sure that we're accelerating through those tackles. Our change of direction and making sure that our movements are on point in coverage so that we can break on the ball. All those things come into play when it comes to that stuff. So just sharpening up our fundamentals in terms of our movements and our eye control to put ourselves in position. And obviously, it always starts with attacking the quarterback.
Coach, watching UCLA on Sunday, it looks like they have tons of offensive weapons all over the field. What do you think from them? What do you have to do to contain those guys?
There's no question, and they use them in different ways. And and they use the tempo Sunday as well. And so we're going to get a bunch of formations that we're going to have to line up to. We're going to have to, again, operate in the pre-snap with urgency, and we got to operate together. We got to play with great eye control once we lock into our keys. And, from there, it's about playing with great fundamentals and playing with urgency to win our one-on-one battles and everyone doing their job. We did a much better job of that in the second half this past week, and we want to pick up and lead on this week with that.
And he wanted to just get your assessment of Jamal's play so far. I know he's one of the defensive players of the week for you guys this past week, but seemed to do well in coverage. Even a couple of the completions were just either high percentage or really low percentage and just happening to be complete. But your impressions of him since he plays arguably the most critical position for you guys?
There's no question, James. I mean, he's coming along, and mind you, he's a sophomore. He's a young player that is learning and growing, and his care factor's through the roof. His the way his approach to practice every morning, he's ready to go. He's focused on the task at hand and what he needs to do to grow forward. And that's all we can ask for. And that's all we're asking from all the guys on this team, everybody involved in the program. And so we're excited about the direction he's going, and we're excited to see where he keeps growing.
Saw a lot of Bennett Williams last week, and you're going to have to be using more safeties this week because of Nick Pickett's first half. Just Bennett's play this season so far, what's been your impressions?
Yeah, Bennett's done an awesome job, and with limited practice time, we're really excited because he was on the shelf for a little while in camp, and so for him to be able to do what he did here in the last couple of weeks, and especially in this last game, stepping up and jumping in there and getting a lot of reps and doing a good job. Obviously, a lot of learning situations for him as well, but he flashed. He made some really good plays on the field. He had a really good tackle, and so there's a lot to grow from.
I know Noah was a highly touted recruit, but did you expect this kind of impact right away, the way he's doing it?
He did get here in January, and through the process of recruiting him and stuff, you can tell his football intelligence was very, very high. And usually two things, young guys got to be mature to be able to handle the process of being in college and playing college football, and then they got to be talented, and their football IQ has to be on point, and Noah has those things, as well as we have a few others too that are young players, and they're doing a very good job as well. So we're excited about where Noah's at right now, and we're just before we came in here we were talking, and he's excited to keep growing too. He knows there's a lot of improvement to continue to make.
Yeah, Coach, in terms of sacks, is there a concern about that, or is things you can do to improve, or looking at the film, or is it just the offenses, how they're getting the ball away quickly, or what?
A little bit of both. Yes, there's a little bit of both. And again, we got to focus on the continued development and attacking, keeping things simple, not overthinking it, attacking our leverage points in the pocket, winning our one-on-ones in front of us, making sure that our eyes aren't in the backfield on the quarterback, and making sure that our full focus is on the man in front of us and winning those one-on-ones in front of us. The ball is getting out, which is going to happen a lot too. But we can't get frustrated with that by any means. We can never get frustrated with it. We just got to stay the course and keep working, keep attacking.
You gave us impressions about Verone's targeting last week. Can you just kind of maybe give what you saw in Nick's, and then if Steve's not able to go, who are some of the candidates to fill in on the boundary?
Yeah. So again, we got to do a great job with our eye control. And that always starts with the tracking portion and tackling and making sure that we're tracking hips. We've got to do a better job making sure we're emphasizing that in practice, and so that we're lowering the target zone of which we're striking. We cannot strike obviously that high, and so we intend to make an emphasis and show clips of exactly what it's supposed to look like, put them in situations in practice, controlled settings where we can further improve that, and then obviously that's got to carry over into the team reps in practice. And then so in the situation in the boundary there, Hap's going to have to step up again. We have other guys as well that have done a good job. In the last couple of weeks, we've had to move around a lot of safeties, at practice, and a bunch of guys have got reps. JJ Greenfield's got reps. Maybe not a lot in the games, but a lot of those guys back there that don't show up on game day have got a lot of practice reps.
KT talked about the goal of being to grade out 100%, Andy, and I know he didn't get home these 2 weeks, but you were spying this week. I'm not going to get into getting home or not. I mean, he affected the quarterback, but all his tackles come in the run game, and I mean, he blew up Lucas and still managed to make up a tackle in one of them. Your assessment of his play and becoming an every down player, because last year he doesn't make these plays in week 2 last year.
There's no question about it, James, and I that's what it is becoming an every down player, and it's still a work in progress. But the thing that we were excited about for Kayvon is that he made a jump from the first week to this last week in the run game, and he had some tackle for loss situations. There are more out there that, coming back and looking at the film, that we can improve on and simplify things and make those next time as well. So he made a huge jump from week 1 to week 2 in the run game. Late in the game, this past game, he had some really, really good pass rushes where he just focused on his get off and attacking on the man in front of him. And when he does that, he is an explosive player now. And so we're going to keep working to simplify things, simplify and clean up fundamentals and technique. And we hope we make another jump this week.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. Popo's return, what does he bring to this defense for you?
Popo, we've really missed him last couple of weeks now. Obviously, we've had some depth inside in there. Guys like Christian, Keon, and Dorless have been able to step up, but Popo's a presence in the middle. And so we're going to work as diligently as we can to get Popo back in the mix and get Popo going while still keeping the other guys involved, because they've done a really good job. But Popo provides a presence as a player and as a leader. And so we're looking forward to getting him back, and we're very excited about that.
Andy Avalos, Oregon defensive coordinator. He met with the media. This is a cool comment from Miles. I know I'm a little biased. Me too. But you'd be hard-pressed to find another university with a group of athletic programs as successful as ours. We're a little spoiled. It's true. We're a little spoiled. Huge thanks to the staff of the athletics programs. I couldn't have said that better myself. We are a little bit spoiled. I think it's the golden age. I mean, you want to talk about, people always throw around the phrase title town, right? I mean, well, football, men's basketball, and women's basketball were Pac-12 champions last year. It's really hard to argue that Oregon wasn't title town, not just maybe for the Pac-12, for the West Coast, for the country, with the way that the Ducks were winning. Rose Bowl champs, and who knows what would have happened with men's and women's basketball in the postseason last year. Probably would have been a national championship. Probably. This year, though. We've got this year. Speaking of that, we're going to hear from Aaron Boley and Kelly Graves coming up. Some women's basketball updates for you on Pac-12 Women's Basketball Media Day. That's right. It's Shuck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. Going to hear from the quarterback, Tyler Shuck, next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you, and today's show brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resorts just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. You can follow me on Twitter at Joey Mack UO, the entire sports network at UO Sports Network, and then, of course, on all of your various Oregon social media channels. There's a lot of them. Just follow them all. Tyler Shuck today had a heck of a line at practice. Rob Mosley mentioned it in his Quack Minute. In fact, when I posted the Quack Minute today, I just thought, this is a great line. This is a great line. He said, 2-0 means nothing. We haven't done anything. We got to get after it this weekend. That's what Tyler Shuck said to the team at practice today. And I just thought, that's leadership. Tyler Shuck talked to the media, the quarterback who is hard on himself, and maybe sometimes rightfully so. Everybody deserves a little bit of self-criticism. But, boy, he's played pretty well, hasn't he? Tyler Shuck talking with the media today.
Tyler, what's made this offense so efficient in the second half, 2 straight games in a row? I think really the only thing that stopped you guys is your lack of execution in second halves. What's made you guys so good?
Just executing the game plan and from practice. We know we're going to have a good game, and we have a really good week of practice. It's got to show. So I think that's our main focus this week is just trying to do it the best we can during practice and then make it easier on the game field to make practice as hard as we can. It's hectic and as confusing as possible so we can get the look right. And then that way when we see it out in the game, we can just play.
Tyler, you mentioned the other night that there's still a lot of the playbook you guys have not shown yet. I mean, how much more can you guys do as the season goes on and you get McCormick and Camp Moyer and some of the other tight ends back along with DJ?
Oh yeah, we're still trying to get our own feel for it and still trying to work different personnels and just do whatever the game plan fits. We have our set offense. We're not really trying to game plan the defense per se and install a whole new offense every week. We're trying to run what we run and make adjustments accordingly. But I'm excited because, we keep getting better each week and we just got to keep stacking those days.
Going back to the turnovers from last week, Coach Cristobal and Coach Moorhead kind of went over them a little bit, talking about the mesh charge on the one where that's not on you guys at all. And it came up actually again in the third quarter. And so walk me through all right, the first time that play is just doomed and that's not on you guys. But how were you able to avoid a fumble when it came up again later? And on the interception, Coach Moorhead said basically just throw it away and avoid it in that spot. But it's so fast, such a quick play. What could you have done differently with such a short time window to make a decision?
Yeah, obviously the first one, the fumble, that's on all of us. Obviously we got to do a better job in the mesh, and we obviously made those corrections after, and just to give it when there is a mesh charge. And on the pick, it was a split-second reaction. I didn't see him get held until after I threw it, but if it is cloudy, then I'm going to just dirt it or throw it away in those situations. So just got to be better at that, at anticipating it, and then just reacting accordingly.
Tyler, you just mentioned some of the decisions you have to make. Do you find yourself gaining confidence in yourself? I know it's strange because you've obviously been an accomplished high school quarterback, but you haven't played this kind of football in a couple of years. Do you feel like yourself kind of gaining that confidence back now over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, there's definitely that game mode feeling for sure. I haven't played a full game since high school in these past 2 games. So you definitely get a level of confidence when you can go in and out in each series and feel like you've put in the work and just executing those plays. So I'm really excited for where we're headed right now. And, we got a long way to go. So I'm just proud of our guys for how they've worked.
Yeah, Tyler, how does, after Stanford, Washington State, you've seen their defenses, how does it look for UCLA if you've had time to look at that? How would you compare those?
Yeah, they're really tough defense. I think they're going to be one of the toughest defenses we faced so far. They fly around to the ball. They got great personnel, great coaching. So we're going to have to be in our game this week and do the best that we can to prepare for them.
Tyler, what has made the running game so consistent and efficient throughout the first 2 games of the season, and how do you see that moving forward against UCLA?
The running game, that's just a testament to our O-line and how they prepared and the running backs just seeing those holes, and the scheme that we put up. Coach has done a great job calling plays and putting us in those positions. The O-line has blocked their butts off and worked hard day in, day out. And we obviously have a great set of running backs and Cyrus, CJ, Travis, and Sean Dollars who've been playing a lot. So I'm really proud of those guys, and we got to keep stepping up each week because we still want to bump those numbers up and obviously create a balanced offense as we planned.
Speaking about running backs, Travis Dye has just 13 touches, but he's averaging like 17 yards a touch and 3 touchdowns. What's made him just so effective in this offense, you feel like?
He's a hard runner. He's a twitchy guy. He sees those holes and he goes through them right now. I think all of our backs have that ability. He's just obviously taking advantage of those opportunities when they've come, and he's a playmaker for sure. He's got great ball control, great body control, and great hands. So I think he's just going to the light, and I think he's progressing each week. And obviously he's had that time to play as a freshman. So everybody's just progressing and getting better. So it's great to see that.
Tyler, just following up on the Bruins defense, I mean, they shut down a veteran quarterback, Chase Garbers, with really no prep time. What does make them so tough in your eyes after looking at that?
They bring a lot of different looks. They have a good front seven. They play hard, and they're well coached. So I think they're going to run to the ball a lot. They're going to try and disguise looks. But I think if we stick to our game plan and stick to our rules, we should be fine and just execute what we do.
So like seeing the 2 receiver group all come through for you this past week. But it was Devin. I mean, not just they all made catches. They all made, I think, diving catches and really big grabs. Devin, Chris, Josh, all of them. What was it like just seeing them come through and to know you have that depth there if Mike is not going to be there last week and this week ahead?
Yeah, it's obviously huge for those guys. They work super hard throughout the week. They're treating it like they're the starters, and their name could be called anytime. And I've been super comfortable getting reps with them and routes on air and team reps and 7-on-7. So it's no surprise to see what they're doing on the field, and I'm really looking forward to elevating their game this next week, and they're going to obviously make me better with some of their athleticism. And obviously, you've seen that on the field, so I'm really proud of them, and we got to keep getting better.
Tyler, I want to take you back to that last play, or I guess that last drive before half against Washington State. That pass to Jalen, was that like where you wanted to go with the ball? Were you expecting him to have that much space? And I know you said if you got it out there a little earlier, it would probably have been a touchdown. Was that just because you were surprised that he was that far behind the defense?
No, we weren't. I wasn't surprised by it. I was just trying to avoid the rush a little bit. I saw somebody kind of get through or fall down. Should just quick avoid it with my feet and then just throwing it out to him. But no, I wasn't surprised by it. I was just a little late on the footwork, but it ended up working out great.
Yeah, Tyler, a similar question on the wheel route to Travis dive for the touchdown. You kind of look in your know that that's going to work as soon as you saw it called. Had you seen things that knew that he would probably beat his man, or is that something that just plays called? You didn't have to make the right pass, but were you kind of anticipating this going a long way?
Yeah, I obviously saw the matchup post snap. Usually we were reading that out. So once I saw the D end or linebacker or whoever was on Travis, and it was just a mismatch for sure. So I laid it out for him to run underneath it, and it definitely worked out for sure. But I know they're in man coverage, and they put that guy in the back, and we love those odds. So just trying to give them the best opportunity they can to make a play.
Tyler, RPOs. Obviously, you guys ran them previously in the older offense. Without giving away aspects of it exactly, I mean, it's on film, but what makes Coach Moorhead's RPOs just perhaps different than what you guys were doing before? Because clearly they've been really effective for you guys. So just what is it about his that are either just slightly different or better than what you guys were doing before? He
just clearly defines our reads for us. We prepare a lot throughout the week on who our give keys and throw keys are and just keying each defender. So it makes it easier on the quarterbacks and wide receivers to just execute the route and just follow accordingly. And obviously you have to have a plan versus pressure and plan versus any dirty looks. So that just goes into preparation throughout the week. And Coach Moorhead obviously having a great system and teaching it well to us.
Tyler Shuck, Oregon quarterback, meeting with the media today. A lot of good stuff there from, I guess we can start calling him QB1 now, can't we? We always called Justin Herbert QB1 because it wasn't on Twitter. So it was like QB1, with the big pass. And now we can call Tyler Shuck QB1. I think we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to keep doing that. Next up, let's hear a little bit from George Moore. We'll get a quick timeout, come back, talk a little offensive line. What's made the run game so good in the second half? George Moore talked about that. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, back in the Country Financial Studio right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. That's taste was as good as the original, maybe even better.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar, as good as the original, maybe even better.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. We're going to hear from George Moore talking a little bit about this offensive line. Also still to come, Oregon women's basketball. We're going to hear from Aaron Boley and Kelly Graves on Pac-12 Media Day. First, though, let's talk a little bit about this Oregon-UCLA matchup. Still don't have a kickoff time for you at 1:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Hoping for one soon so that we can all plan that kickoff between the Ducks and the Bruins. In the meantime, George Moore, who's had quite the journey for the Ducks. He talked about that last time he met with the media. Now a starter playing a couple different positions and talking all about this Oregon offensive line, George Moore.
Yeah, George, what's made this offense so efficient from halftime into the second half? You guys you're unreal in the second half. What's made this group so good?
I feel like with us coming out very hot in the second half, practice. Coach Cristobal, Coach Mirabal, all the coaches on staff, they preach. We come out and we play physical, or we do everything that we're going to do in the game in practice. Fourth quarter, we put our fours up. We do that in the game. And that's one of the main things that we do to come out and just be prepared for that opportunity in the second half.
During fall camp, George, we talked about your journey and kind of how you had to wait your turn. What's it been like now, these last two games, getting to start and play so many snaps for what is a really good offensive line?
It's a great opportunity. Everybody always have to wait for an opportunity. And, just the opportunity that they're giving me, I want to take it and take advantage of it. It's crazy, it's running out there with the first offense and, being able, without even the fans, fans really bring a lot of juice to the game, but just having those, first snap jitters and like the chills, it's amazing feeling being able to go out there and start, these last two games has been a big blessing.
George, following on the question from before about the second half, in the ground game in particular, you guys' yards per carry is great across the board, but in the second half, it's like double the first half. Do you attribute that to halftime adjustments you guys are making, or do you feel a difference? Have you felt the difference these first two games as far as that you guys really are wearing the opponent down? That you talked about the fourth quarter. Do you feel the opposing defensive line just getting weaker as you guys are just wearing on them, because 9 yards of carry in the second half is outrageous?
Everybody we play is they have a great team. They have a great program. Everybody works hard out there. So I know it's really not that. I feel like us just the game adjustments and just having, you know, that drive to be great and finish strong as a team. You know, we just want to carry the culture, and like Coach Moorhead said, he says, like, we're not going against the opponent, we're going against our culture. Like, every day we're out there battling against our culture to get better. So I feel like just trying to elevate the standard of our program is really what drives us to go out there and perform the way we do.
Yeah, George, there wasn't a lot of experience on this offensive line coming into the season. Who has stepped up, and how have you guys improved as a unit?
Like everybody knows, we didn't have any starters. So, everybody stepped up, from everybody that's been playing. Even the second offensive line, they work. Everybody works hard. Everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to drive, to have that drive for all of us to have those, you know, like those ones you can trust and lean on, knowing that those guys are going to be great.
Yeah, George. So Stanford, Washington State under your belt. How much improvement do you think you made personally from game to game? Who was the toughest opponent, and what do you think of UCLA?
Just going off UCLA, that's a great program they had over there. They had a great game against Cal Berkeley. They're going to come out and they're going to play hard. They have a great defensive line. They have a great coaching staff. They run to the ball. They fly to the ball. They're very well coached. And for myself, I don't really like to, you know, like basically pat myself on the back. I got a lot to work on. You know, that's why I'm here every day to give myself that opportunity to get better as a player. And, you know, that's pretty much it.
George, this offensive line doesn't have any holding penalties, doesn't have any false start penalties. I think you've only allowed 1 sack in 2 games. What are you just the most pleased with in terms of early results from you guys? What are you most proud of in terms of your production?
Just being able to go out there with those guys and knowing that the guy to my left or the guy to my right, I could trust them 100% that they're going to get that job done. And just every day going out there, even on walkthrough days or Fast Friday days, us going through full footwork, full hat placement, we never really take a step back. We're always trying to take a step forward, and no matter we do. And hats off to Coach Mirabal, because he pushes us more than I've ever, you know, just he pushes so hard that he wants us to be great, and it pays off a lot in the game, you know.
George, you guys are moving all over the place on the offensive line. You start at left tackle. You also play right tackle during the games. What's it like rotating through that many different positions? And just kind of, is there maybe a cumulative effect, you think, on defenses because you guys are able to get a couple series rest, you know, in between those rotations?
Just with practice, we do that in practice every day. We rotate. We do the same rotation that we do in the game. So, it's just, I don't want to say it's like effective for me getting the break, you know, but it helps just letting everybody get their reps and everybody being able to perform to their highest ability. And you know, it just helps because we all work hard. All 6 of us that plays, we all work tremendously hard. So that truly it helps us all, you know, at the end of the day.
George, I'm sure you had your share of collisions with DJ Johnson last year in practice. What has it been like to see him kind of lined up next to you now and really bail the team out at tight end?
Hats off to DJ, because, you know, he been through a lot, with just, you know, getting over here with transferring and then his foot being broken last year and then just learning a whole new playbook. And he's doing amazing. You know, he works hard. He always want to put his head in something and be like an offensive lineman, but he always could go out there and catch. And, you know, me just being his teammate and his brother, I'm really proud of him, you know, because he's working hard every day.
That's good stuff, man, from George Moore talking there about DJ Johnson, the offensive line, just everything. I really like what George Moore had to say today. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Going to hear from Jalen Red. I might get to that, but also I want to switch gears, talk a little women's basketball. Pac-12 Virtual Media Day today. Kelly Graves on his young team that was picked to finish 3rd in the preseason poll by the media and tied for 2nd in the preseason coaches poll. We're going to talk about that with Kelly Graves next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. Football I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Told you earlier that Oregon women's basketball picked 3rd in the preseason poll by the media, tied for 2nd in the coaches poll announced today. Stanford is the favorite in both, by the way. Aaron Boley, Sedona Prince picked to the preseason all-conference team, and Taylor Chavez, Taylor Mikesell, and Jazz Shelley all picked to the honorable mention list for the preseason all-conference selection. Your Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight. We always shine a spotlight on what's going on in Oregon athletics thanks to our friends at Toyota and Women's Sports. Well, we've got games coming up for Oregon women's basketball, with the conference announcing at least the pairings for the schedule for the conference season. We're awaiting the exact dates and TV times and everything else with all the information to come, but it's 2020, and hopefully we'll get it sooner than later. Meanwhile, Kelly Graves and Aaron Boley talked to the media, and I loved the way Aaron Boley started out her conversation talking to the media. It's just good to be back.
I think it's difficult. It's difficult for everybody, but we feel so fortunate in that we're able to practice and play, and that we're able to say that we have a season coming up. I think that kind of helps deal with the ambiguity and the uncertainty a little bit. It helps overshadow it.
I thought that was really, really well said by Aaron Boley, because it reminds me of what Mark Wazikowski from Oregon Baseball said earlier this month, that mentally this has been challenging for all of us, but for athletes who are used to competing and being with each other, it's got to just be nice to be back out on the floor. But it certainly looks a little bit different, and Kelly Graves talked about some of the differences in the world, and in a typical Coach Graves fashion, had some fun with it.
I don't think anybody knew the invention of Zoom. When we watch film, we have to stay spaced. We're doing a lot more individual film than team film right now. And then when we meet, we have to kind of space throughout the arena, use a microphone. So we're not near each other. So yeah, it's a little unusual, but you know what, Roz, every day's a blessing. And hopefully the one thing we've gotten out of all this is to realize that, we all should feel blessed to see another day, and don't take anything for granted.
Ain't that the truth from Coach Graves? Yeah, Roz Goldon-Wude from the Pac-12 Network and beyond moderated the Media Day festivities this morning. Maybe some of you watched it on Pac-12 Network, as they did televise it live. But Coach Graves also talking about Sedona Prince, picked to the preseason team for the all-conference list, but she's not even played a game yet. Been through some injuries, transferring to Oregon. But, man, there's a lot of hype around Sedona Prince, and now she's got to live up to it. Kelly Graves talking about Sedona Prince and some of the freshmen that are pretty highly touted.
Yeah, Sedona's the entire package, I think. She's, capable around the rim, and she's going to be 6'7" the whole game. Finishes with either hand. She's really strong. She's got a nice touch to 17, 18 feet. I love her at the high post, and we're playing a lot more through her than we did through Ruthie as a center. You know, in the past we've run through either Satu or Sabrina, and now we're going to do a lot through Sedona. So great passer. Defensively, I think she's going to be a presence. I think she's got a chance to be a real special player and a longtime pro. Our other freshmen, you know, day to day, we have a different one step up. It's a really tremendous class. The one that's been the most consistent for us and really has a chance to be a star is Tahina Paupau. I think she's really solidified herself as our top guard, and I think, you know, hopefully we have another Sabrina Ruthie combination with Tahina and Sedona.
That's a pretty good comparison, isn't it? I feel like forevermore we're going to say it's like Stockton and Malone. It's going to be Sabrina and Ruthie. You know, we're going to be comparing every guard-forward tandem that the Ducks ever have, maybe in both men's and women's basketball, to that combo of Sabrina and Ruthie. Well, Erin Boley, who was also picked on that preseason list with Sedona Prince, she talked about just how good Sedona Prince is and how good the front court could be for the Ducks.
You know, Sedona's going to be great for us. I think all the way around, as far as our post play goes, you know, adding Niara into that too, I think we're going to be really strong in that area. And I'm really excited to be able to play with Sedona this year.
Good stuff from Erin Boley. That's just great words talking about her teammate. And just to give you some context, and I've talked a lot with Terry Johns, voice of Oregon Women's Basketball, about this, Sedona Prince is one of those players that is tall, lengthy, but can dribble, handles the ball like a guard even though she's playing center. That's how special Sedona Prince could be. Meanwhile, with all these new faces, I mean, Erin Boley is the lone returning starter. So what's the identity of this team going to be, Erin Boley?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be an entirely new team with a new identity, and we knew that coming in. It's a big change from last year to this year for all of the returners, but we have, you know, as you said, an amazing incoming freshman class and, you know, amazing people coming in as transfers. So, and even, you know, in Sedona and Niara, who feel like returners that haven't played for us yet, I think we have a great combination right now of players. And even though it's a big shift from last year, we're going to come back really strong with a great team this year.
It is a big shift, but with leaders like Erin Boley, and then Lydia Giomi is not going to get as much hype on the floor, but just what she does off the floor, I think, deserves a lot of credit. The Ducks feeling pretty darn confident. You know, I think about this a lot, like Peyton Pritchard has moved on for Oregon men's basketball, and again with the NBA draft tomorrow, best of luck to Peyton Pritchard. I feel like there's a lot of similarities with a little bit of a changing of the guard. It's more players that left for Oregon women's basketball and moved on to the next level, but for men's basketball, it's a bit of the changing of the guard because Peyton Pritchard's been the leader the last 3 years. So what's that leadership going to look like for the men as well? I think that's going to be a question for both of these teams heading into this season. Kelly Graves, though, did say that as a result of the way things are with practice and how the Ducks are approaching practice with adhering to the local health guidelines, things are a little bit different. One of the things that's different, playing a lot more 5-on-5 at this point in the practice schedule.
And one of the things that we've done that's different than in the past, I have 9 new players, 7 of which are freshmen. And so we're actually playing a lot more 5-on-5 right now. I put a lot more stuff in than I would have normally done at this point. Just because we don't have a lot of scrimmages, we don't have exhibitions, we don't have preseason games. And you never know when your team's going to get shut down, or a good portion of your team, because of the virus. And so, you know, we want to have a baseline in. So I've actually had to teach a lot more a lot early. So that's been a challenge.
It's going to be a year of attrition more than any other. It's not just injuries on the floor and your normal level of if someone gets the flu, someone gets sick. Now you worry about COVID-19. Even if nobody tests positive, just for contact tracing, there's a lot of different things. Attrition, I think, is going to be the theme of this year, especially for basketball. One other thing, though, that the Ducks will not have this year, and it sounds like the rest of the Pac-12, rest of the country has kind of gone this way in order to limit the amount of people that are in the gym, practice players. The coaches got asked today about if they're using practice players. Well, unfortunately for the Ducks, they're not, and it has changed things for Kelly Graves and his squad.
Well, we're not having practice guys this year. You know, it's been a big part of our program since I've gotten here to Oregon. We've opted to keep our bubble smaller, and I've seen actually a positive byproduct of that is I think maybe our second unit, or those kids that you would consider maybe at the bottom of your rotation, are getting more repetition. So I actually think it has lifted all of us and helped us without having practice guys this year. Now, when we're allowed to have them in the future, I think I'll go back to it. But right now, I like the way it's gone. I think it could be a negative here coming up when you're preparing for another team. You know, now you've got to teach everybody the flex offense, or Lynn's ball screen motion offense. And I got kids that can't run what we're doing. And then you're going to try and have them, run an opposition's offense with one day of preparation. That's going to be difficult. But, it allows me to now step in and play a little defense on our post players.
Yeah, and Coach Graves can still do it. Don't get me wrong. I've seen him at practice in the past. He could definitely still do it. But without practice players, think about it. You don't have the quote-unquote scout team. For football, the roster is so big that the Ducks will have guys on that developmental squad that'll act as the scout team. They'll learn the opposing team's offense and defense to prep the ones and the twos in practice every week. Basketball rosters are a little bit smaller, hence why you often have, in the women's case, a team of guys that will practice and just be practice squad players. And on the men's side, sometimes it's walk-ons, sometimes it's guys that are redshirting. For example, Eric Williams was a big guy on the, quote, scout team for Oregon men's basketball last year in practice. Now, after his redshirt year, he's ready to go for the Ducks. That practice squad, I think, is a huge, huge thing this year that I'll be keeping an eye on, because I think games are going to come down to being less about the preparation and the scouting report and more about who's just the better team. It's not going to be about the plan heading in. It's who's going to be the better squad at executing that day. Just ask UCLA against Cal this weekend, when on 48 hours notice, those two teams had to throw their previous game plans out the window and then still go play a football game. It's going to be a lot like that in basketball season, I think, as well. And also, as part of our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight, remember, women's basketball in the Pac-12 is going to a 22-game schedule this year. Coach Graves is a huge fan of that 22-game conference schedule.
Well, I've been outspoken. I like the 22-game schedule, even pre-COVID and post-COVID. I just think it's we're the best conference in the country. That the analytics may be against it, because then we don't have a chance to kind of test ourselves against national competition. But, I like it. It means you're going to have a true champion. You got to play everybody twice. You got to play that true double round robin. So I think it's great. And I'm glad that we voted for it this year, because I think at least this year it was the right thing to do. We have a game next Saturday, right, is our first game. Our men have a game that same day with the TV time. They don't have an opponent. So I just, I'm talking to other coaches on our side and who need 5 and 7 non-league games, and they don't have 2. So it was a good move for this year.
Kelly Graves talking about that schedule. And, yeah, the schedule's still very in flux for both the men and the women with non-conference games, and especially starting tomorrow with that 2-week freeze around the state of Oregon and the West Coast new travel advisory. There's so much more than just sports here. But in our little bubble, trying to figure out who you're going to play, how you're going to play these games safely, that's what they're trying to figure out right now. And we're all hoping that they can do it, because, boy, I'm looking forward to being back at Matthew Knight Arena. The latest for us, I won't be on the courtside on the floor. Terry Johns and I are going to be up in the concourse so that we're as far away from everybody as we possibly can be to keep our distance. It's going to be a little different perspective calling a game. I won't have Coach Altman and the referees in front of me the whole time. Might actually see something.
Closer to the concessions.
I don't think the concessions are going to be open, but good thinking. Oh. But good thinking. Maybe our man John Sargent can hook it up. He's in charge of concessions here at the University of Oregon. There you go. Oregon women's basketball and Pac-12 Media Day today. When we come back, NBA draft, virtual sellout, and also some news and notes on what's to come on the show tomorrow. Boy, man, it feels like it's later than Tuesday. It feels like that should be Thursday already. Let's get to some football and some basketball. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio on the second floor of the Casanova Center. Joey Mack here with you. Scott Phillips always with me, making me look better. And, well, that's hard to do. Can't really do that. Making me sound a lot better than I do. Mitchell Lee back in the Oregon Sports Network studio as well. Virtual sellout for the Washington game. Just a quick note for that. GoDucks.com/sellout. You're going to want to check that out. Also, massive success first two games. Our Duck Duel. You can check that out. GoDucks.com/DuckDuel. Chance to win up to $1 million in a brand new Toyota Venza, by the way.
Crazy.
I'm still upset that I'm not eligible because it's all about Oregon trivia.
Trivia, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I would have a good idea of.
And nobody won last week.
Yeah,
right?
nobody won last week. Nobody won. It's hard to win though. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I think you have to get like. It's somewhere between like 18 and 22 questions every week, and you play it throughout the game. GoDucks.com/DuckDuel. You're going to want to check that out. NBA draft is tomorrow. Peyton Pritchard, go get him, buddy. Wherever he ends up, I'll tell you what, he's going to be successful. He's that guy that's going to work really hard. He's super competitive. He'll find success in the NBA. I have no doubt in my mind. Didn't get to Jalen Red today. We'll have that for you tomorrow. We also will hear from Mario Cristobal, and Oregon soccer head coach Graham Abel will join the show as they wrapped up their fall practices. See you then.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and